Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
All right, check one, check one. This is it, everybody. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell. Oh man, I got a great guest, a dope guest, a hilarious guest, super interesting stand-up comic. Has written articles and he does a podcast. And we used to do clubs in New York City in the Village, and he's also a retired police officer. But you couldn't tell from how young he looks. This is my man. Give it up for Mark DeMayo.
What's up, Rob?
What's up, my man?
I just have to mention before we even go into it, I got my own podcast and we've been looking for an opening and we couldn't just figure out how to put it together. Who wrote your opening? Because that's something like that's in the guys that we want to. That's the lane that we want to take.
Yeah, that evolved from me. I did this straight off my phone. I did podcasts before, but working with other cats gets crazy. So, working with other people, you got to meet on time. Everybody's got to have the right attitude. Everybody's got to brush their teeth. But with Zoom, it's a little bit different. But I was like, motherfucker, I'm just going to drink some coffee and I'm going to do this podcast and smoke some weed.
That's how I feel about actually like posting and promoting anything. Like just doing those videos like on the fly where you stop in the middle of the day and you start recording. I'm not really that person during the day.
No,
I'm not in the mood to do that. Most of the time I walk around, I want to punch somebody in their fucking face. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'm kidding. I'm not that, but I'm just not.
Oh, no, we all walk around grumpy. We talk about it, man. I talked about Willie Nelson had a great quote the other day. He was like, the reason I smoke so much pot is so I wouldn't go around and kill anybody. You know
what? And you mentioned
people, life gets you angry and everybody's going through it. And especially with the pandemic, people are ticking, yo. So everybody's smoking out. I don't know about you, but yeah.
Well, too, it's like some people that are, they're just generationally opposed to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That they just grew up with black and white, and it was something that was fed to them that it was wrong, it was bad. They'll never get it. But for somebody who, you know what I'm saying, like.
You grew up in a very progressive, but also blue collar New York City, Mark. I love you being on this podcast. You're the last of the dying breed of real New Yorkers that I see out there. But and it's the reason I came here. The thing about New York, I always say is like, dude, I mean, you could talk about hip hop, or if it's this or it's that, but it is a New York music. Hip hop is a New York fucking music, man. And it's just a certain vibe. I don't know. It's like pizza, the cabs, the art, the culture, the immigrants, like everything. And it just pops, man. It just makes something really funky. And that's what I always loved. And that's what you have, Mark. Am I going too weird on this?
No. When I was a kid, we used to walk. I remember every summer had a song.
Yes.
And you could walk through, like, for example, for going to the beach, we used to go to the beach. We just take the train to the Rockaways. And it would be Sucker MC playing from Astoria, Queens, all the way through Brooklyn to the Rockaways to get to the beach, 14, 15 years old. And everywhere you went, boom, boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, bop, boom, bop.
Yeah.
It was the boardwalk. People breakdancing on the boardwalk.
Yep.
That's just the way we grow up. And
that was the background music to this like exciting city, man. And that raw energy of that early Sucker MC sound. Like, but I always say, like, with hip hop, how you hear what the hot track is when motherfuckers are playing it out their car, right? Like that's when I hear the first joint. That's when you know something's hot. If you don't hear people playing it out their car, like where it's not hot.
What's so fucked up is that it always sounds, especially now it always sounds better in your car.
Yeah.
Because to everybody else, it annoys the shit out of me. As soon as I pull up next to you and you got that first of all, I'm 53 years old. I couldn't tell you who the fuck the baby is, right?
Yeah,
But
I'm 49.
yeah, when you pull up next to me and you got your music loud and I'm in the middle of trying to think, I'm trying to come up with a thought. I look at you like right in your eye and then I roll up my window. So you know that I'm not listening to your music.
Dude, people in New York want to express themselves, so they pump their music, man. I was next to this dude the other day driving, and he was on one of those like city cruiser bicycles, like a motorcycle, but like the granddaddy kind, like the time you take to the Rio Grande or something. Yeah. And he was pumping some crazy Caribbean music, like some like reggae, but like the new dance hall shit that's like from Trinidad or something. And it was so loud because I was pumping my beats. All right, I like to pump beats. I got the clips in there. I also got Grateful Dead. I got the band. I got Humble Pie. I got shit you don't even know about. I pump beats, but these dudes, his beats just outshot. I had turned my shit off. I just turned it off. It was like, but I'm with you, man. Sometimes, like I was interviewing because I grew up in DC with go-go music, and it's just not a music you want to hear during the daytime. Like aggressive music, especially as you get older, man. We got shit to do. You gotta have your mind.
People here need music all the time for some reason. Like you're like, you know, you're in the bodega. And they're like, yo, Ak, let me get a Vanilla Dutchie. And the guy, you know, the girl behind him, she has a song playing on her phone. It's not even an iPhone where the speakers are good. It's like some, you know, T-Mobile bullshit. And she's playing her song, which, you know, it just sounds horrible. Like, why do you need it at this moment right now? Plus, they're playing music in the bodega. This guy's got headphones on. It's like so much music. It's like we just all have to listen to the same song at one time and agree on it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But then again,
stimuli, like it's stimuli everywhere, man. It's people are just trying to get out of their head.
I think it was better too. Like I don't get it, man, right now. And it's because I'm old. Yeah, I don't get it, man.
They said the same thing to us, man. They said the same thing to us. Don't even think they didn't say the same thing to our bullshit. Everybody got their bullshit, man. And it's all bullshit, man. But I do like the young vibe. Like some of that shit, I don't listen to the DaBaby. I can't tell you what's Gucci Mane or the DaBaby, but now and then the beats get me and I'm like, all right, I could vibe to that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is I like the Weeknd. Is that?
Yeah, I like the Weeknd too. Like,
is that appropriate to say?
Yeah. What's that? I hear you coming.
You know, I don't want to break them because what happens is when old people start liking you, then you actually lose favor with the crowd you're trying to get. You don't want to become that guy. You want to just be like just for the, you know, for the kids your age, your group. Because once I start liking you, then all of a sudden it's in a commercial. It actually is in a commercial already. Anyway.
Weeknd played the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah,
and played the Super Bowl. He was high on coke, playing the Super Bowl in a red.
What he said?
That's what he said. He was wearing a Richard Pryor red suit. It was.
I saw him. Yeah.
Richard Pryor red suit, but yeah, I think a lot of his songs is about cocaine. It's weird.
He's quite the character. He walks around with like a beat up face. He does makeup, and he puts his head in like a bandage wrap, and he walks, or he comes around with a black eye. That's a pretty interesting thing to do. Because I walked around with a black eye a couple of times when I was a kid, and other than the throbbing headache, it's not a bad look.
No,
I don't mind scrapping. That's what it tells you. Stay away from me.
I've been through some things. I've been through some.
Really, I was just in a fight. Yeah. Really, you want to go? I don't mind fighting again. I know what it feels like. I'll go again.
I'll catch you. Yeah, man. As a kid, I fucked myself up. I broke my leg in 2 places. I got in a fight and split the back of my head on a toilet in a public school. Like yeah.
How did you break your leg?
Oh, this is a crazy story. Yeah, this is in Virginia. This is a true story. My first time my mom left the town, and my friends came over, 3 or 4 dudes, right? And we started drinking tequila, smoking Swisher Sweets, right? And watching porn, right? And this one kid, this is in Virginia, so it was like this one kid was a little bit more country, I would say redneck, and he had a dirt bike. He had a motorcycle he got for Christmas, you know, like a 120, you know, like what they ride in the streets, like popping wheelies. But these kids would ride them all around the mountains and stuff. and I jumped on that thing. It was like a 150, and I went, and I ran it like 20 feet and hit a tree. Bam! And my leg hit the tree, and my leg broke in 2 places in my my fibula and my tibula. I don't know. I don't know how squeamish. I also almost cut my dick off too on a bike accident. But as a young, and I fell out of a moving car when I was 5 in DC, in Rock Creek Park. Yeah. I think I fucked myself up so hard, so many different ways, and growing up in the city and growing up in the country. Nowadays I'm so chill, Mark. All I want to do, like my idea of heaven, is going fishing on a rowboat with sandwiches, like with a friend, with no phone.
You say it like it's crazy, but when I look at you and I talk to you, I think to myself, wow, this guy probably fell out of a moving car a couple of times. But seriously, I get you, man. I totally get you. You know, I've been following this whole Wim Hof method right now, and the thing about learning how to like put stress at a distance, staying in the moment, and it's you know, I'm happy that I'm on this path because the other way, it'll eat you alive. You know, you got to chill, and that's where the cannabis comes in. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Otherwise, you know, it's just a much better way to greet the world, as far as I'm concerned. For me, anyway. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for people under 21, and I think it should be regulated. But with how society's moving with mental illness, and you know, just exactly how the war on drugs has hit minorities, it's you know, it's just time.
Yep. I mean, I'll take it. You know, it's pretty convenient that we legalize marijuana right now when our governor's in the world of shit. But I'll take it, man. I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth.
No, it's right there, man. And the dudes that are doing it early are making the money. And I'll tell you, Mark, I know a lot of like square cats in California that have families and shit. And they're like, dude, it's not a big deal. The thing about weed is you smell it a mile away. Like you can't sneak up on anybody smoking weed. That's why you always got popped in New York. I did 3 nights in the Tomb, Mark. I did 3 nights for a roach for smoking in the LES in 2007.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that's why it had to be legalized, just because it couldn't be. It was over. There was a time in New York when the crime was so down that, you know, you worked in narcotics, you basically drove around and picked up pot smokers. And, you know, we're talking about a guy that in Brooklyn Heights walking his dog in his bathrobe, you know, taking a hit off a one hitter, and he's sitting in the back of the van.
Yep.
You know, with 5 other guys. It became too aggressive. It lost its way.
Yeah, and a little bit about the dollar bill there. It just gets too, like, it's just too easy.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, you go the other way too, because now all of a sudden, you know, people who grew up here or have not grew up here, but have at least lived here for a while, they'll come up to you and be like, "Can you believe they're smoking pot right there in the park? Can you smell it? There's kids playing there." And I'm like, I'm like, you know, I guess the kids are going to grow up being used to that smell. It's going to be nothing to them after a little while.
Dude, you know what we had? We had dudes smoking PCP and playing dice and porno everywhere. Like this place is sanitary, dude, compared to the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. There is an idea, though, that it's heading it back in that direction, though. And the thing is,
I've been hearing there is random violence. I think it's just, the middle class is shrinking and there's just desperation at the corners.
There's a lot of homeless people that are out. Well, they're always out, but there's not a lot of other people out. There's not a lot of tourists. So when you walk through the city here, you know, this guy who's got to punch somebody in the face, because they're all like on a clock. These crazy people, they all got to punch somebody every 2 days or something like that. Every 3 days they punch.
It peaks out. It peaks out, like the manicness and the mental, and then they got to go through. Somebody has to hold them down. Yeah.
So it just so happens that there's not that many people out, so the chances of you getting hit has raised significantly. You know what I'm saying? You went.
I lived in San Francisco 3 or 4 years. I know how to dodge them. And I grew up in DC in the 70s, man. I grew up in Northeast DC. I was born in 72. I know how to dodge it, but I don't want to talk out of line because it is like random, really vicious violence that's happening.
And it goes against all, people who can't defend themselves.
Yes.
And as well as like people, like even if they knew what was up, they couldn't. Then the reaction time is not going to be good.
No.
And that's what's happening. A lot of that random violence over here now.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, you was mentioning earlier about being a native New Yorker and one of the OGs, and the thing is, like, how much longer am I going to stay here? Like, how much longer can me even put up with it? And there's a real part of me, like, yeah, it's a scary feeling right now too, because once my mind is made up, I'm going to go.
Right.
I'm just, I have kids here, one's in college graduating and the other one is in another program, and he's going to be graduating soon too. So
congratulations, Mark. That's amazing to get the kids up to that age and do the real thing and do comedy and be a cop, man. I know that struggle, and it's not easy. It's a lot of dudes fold. So, man, you're just doing great.
Listen, all I do is pretty much complain about my predicament and what a loser I am all day.
No, you can't do that. Yeah. That's that New York shit I don't like, man. That negative fucking. You guys got punched in the face too much when you were young. There's too much child trauma with you guys.
It's funny too. You're sitting at home. You're like, man, I'm such a fucking loser. I need to get my shit together. Meanwhile, you're smoking.
Smoking in sweatpants, and you got Netflix on, and you're watching White Boy Rick. Have you seen White Boy Rick yet?
Yeah. I'm like 3/4 through it. What a story, huh?
So, yeah, that was what I wanted to talk to you. My brother was a Maryland State Trooper for a long time, so I know cops, and he's also in federal right now. But so I kind of know that world, and I always ask him about cases. What do you think about the White Boy Rick case, being with a police background?
Well, I think the most interesting part of it is that the shady police commissioner, was in the movie Beverly Hills Cop, played the guy, his sergeant in Beverly Hills Cop.
Remember? I got family in Michigan. I remember this character. Yeah,
and he was good too.
He was good. He killed that role.
He killed it. He killed that role.
You know why? Because he was a real deal cop. That's how they sound. And they shot that. They had those metal, they had those big, they had the real wooden desk, and they had the real cop just chewing Eddie Murphy out.
Yeah, that was great. And also, it reminds me of a lot of the Full Metal Jacket, the sergeant that actually was a real sergeant, and he was a gunnery sergeant. He was actually training the extras how to be soldiers in the scenes, and he kept sending them videotapes of himself.
Yeah, man.
With showing them the progress that he was making with the extras, showing them how to drill so they could be background. But in the meantime, he would sneak himself yelling at them in the beginning, knowing that role was somebody was reading for that role still, and that's how he got in. But he was a real gunnery, just the same way this guy was a real. I guess he was a police commissioner or a police chief, and also he also was running for mayor, I think, and the mayor of that was corrupt as well. And I guess they kept him in jail all the time, so he couldn't tell his story or something. I don't know. I didn't get to the end of it yet.
Yeah, I haven't lost it. No, I watched a little bit of the end. He's actually gotten out in 2007. I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
But then he has doing another bid in Florida. It's crazy, this guy's karma. But yeah, it looks really like a shady, somebody way up top. Yeah, the mayor, just like was covering shit up as politicians, do power moves like that, man. And especially during that time, I always said, it just comes down to cocaine and money, man. It's just like that amount of money in the 80s just corrupted so many people, and there wasn't the internet. So people were fucking on the take, man. And I think there was just a lot of money in the black market and the underground market, crime market in Detroit at the time. And they had a corrupt system, and they put this kid away.
Hey, let me tell you, bro, I was a cop.
But they also busted him like with 9 kilos.
8 kilos. Yeah.
8 kilos, which I mean, I'm not, and I've been around cats, and the most I've ever seen is somebody break out an 8 ball. Like I've never seen somebody break out a full kilo of cocaine. And then to have 8, that's worth like, what's that worth on the street? Is that $1 million?
No, I think they were like 12, 14, 15. It varies between 12 and $15,000 for a key.
Gotcha.
And I mean, he was working for the guy Curry, and Curry was a pretty big mover
Yeah.
for still being on the street. So it's pretty reasonable that that guy Curry would say, "Oh, do me a favor, go pick up our next
Yeah.
batch from so and so and bring over the house." And he
That's
just
why he's
takes
hanging
all
out
over
with them.
it.
Yeah. That's why they're letting them hang out.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was also easy to get through the neighborhood. I mean, if you had to go pick up 8 kilos, why not let the white kid go get
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's a ground ball.
Yeah,
And
it
I'm
was
wondering,
kind, all I'm saying is a little bit on him. Like my heart goes out to him, and he's nonviolent, and he was a dumb kid, but he was moving huge amount of weight. And when you're involved with that amount of weight, and he was saying he liked the lifestyle. So this guy, it was like guns, Mercedes-Benz mink coats, prostitutes money, the whole thing, the underworld.
yeah, and altogether they was probably pulling in like 100,000 a year back then.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Listen, it's not.
But
It's
his
not.
dad was into guns. Like his dad was like shipping guns. So his dad was shady. And the thing that's, as you know, as a parent, that you kind of like, it is his fault, but he also kind of got led the wrong way a little bit. So that's, I mean, my compassion for him. And I think he should have been let out a long time ago.
I mean, that story is one of 100 million stories of African Americans being incarcerated, not for 28 years for 8 keys, but the way they give out sentences, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like
Yeah,
they
once you
mentioned in
start doing the
the
crack
story.
thing, yeah, once you start measuring out the crack thing, and then economically, who's doing that and why, um, it gets really tricky right now. And I think that's what's tripped me out about the quarantine. It's just been a time of self-reflection, and like all this shit has been hitting the universe all at once. It's like Black Lives Matters, QAnon, Me Too, like everything's legalizing. It's all happening all at once. But I just think society's growing, and there's always pains, and you got to work with them and look at them. You can't ignore them. You got to look them kind of straight on.
This is the best time to be a narcissist right now because no, seriously, because all this other stuff is vying for your attention, and it doesn't really help you in any way.
Mm-mm.
And anybody who's going towards the light in any one of those causes and situations, those are people that most of them don't have. They don't have a thing they want to do.
Yeah.
So you might as well, if it's not this cult, it's another. There's so many. Listen, you
A
can't.
lot to get wrapped up with, and it's almost too much, and it's almost the amount of it is suffering. So, but I do like what I'm doing is like going more to nature, simplifying. Like I'm all about stretching and water and meditation. I'm up to like 40 minutes now, man, like zoning. And I wasn't that way before, and our society wasn't that way before, but I've had to do it just to stay alive.
Yeah, whatever you have to do, whatever you have to do, and the most important thing is try to find something that you enjoy doing, and then try to make money at it, because that is what's going to keep you focused on you reaching your goals. Because the amount of tension, and a lot of this is just manufactured hysteria and stress or drama.
Yeah.
It's manufactured. We're talking about third, fourth, fifth degree separation between this person that had something done to them and me.
And super gossip. It's really pulling away the attention of the love of it all.
I mean, when you sit there and you're crying tears the way you would as if your mom died, you got to ask yourself, all right, let's relax right now. How much am I really putting into this right now?
Yeah.
Seriously. And listen, I like to think that I have a good heart, But when somebody tells me, oh, so and so died, and I'm like, wow, really? Who the fuck is that? Oh, you know, so and so's aunt. Oh, you met them once at a party. Oh, wow, that's horrible. She was nice, but I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do? Start going hysterical right now?
No, no.
Met her once at a party.
But that's
There's
like the
people that
beauty
do
of
that.
it with yourself too, is like something Tracy told me that Tracy Morgan, when I was working with her, you know, when you die,
Mhm.
you know, the most people are gonna say, oh, Mark died. Oh, that sucks. I gotta go do that thing.
Uh-huh.
I gotta go take a shit. I gotta go run and get my mom's fucking bread. I gotta go, you know, it just everybody just takes a brief moment, you know,
Oh,
and they keep it moving. I mean, my dad died when I was 10. I just know it hits you and everybody goes through it, and it's a part of life, you know, and but I don't want to lose the hard shell, like, is cool and all, but the real toughness is being tender and being understanding and understanding about you know, just growing with it. You know, you could be as hard rock as you want, but the hard rock just goes to heart disease.
It's a fine line between, you know, manufacturing some this sorrow. I mean, listen, when I put this thing on
You still gotta love people, you know. You still gotta love life. You just can't fall for any sucker shit, you know.
You know, I don't know whether this is the prayer symbol,
Yeah,
or whether it's the yoga symbol. I think it's the prayer symbol, right? When you put this up on the Facebook, I'm really praying for you. I'm not wasting that. You know what I'm saying? I'm really gonna say a prayer for you. I wouldn't put it up, but a lot of happy
I say
birthday
prayers for people all the time, man, and I think I've seen them work.
Yeah, a
I
lot
think
of
it
happy
goes out
birthdays.
if people show energy, like it's the cold cats, like when you hear somebody die and they were a dick, and everybody's just like, man, fuck that dude, you know. That, I mean, that's not a good feeling, you know. But when everybody's kind of like, oh, Mark was a dope dude, you know, and they're sending you vibes, I think you could feel it. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of dope dudes have died in comedy, and you definitely feel it.
Yeah.
Angelo Lozada. You know,
Oh, I think about him all the time, man. He was such a great guy. Talk about a New York guy. He was telling me about he saw, like, he battled Joe Ski Love back in the 80s in hip hop. I don't know if you know who Joe Ski Love. Do you know who Joe Ski Love is?
No.
Oh, dude, I remember this was summer of 83, probably the biggest hip hop record. Get busy, y'all, busy, y'all, busy, y'all.
Okay.
Pee Wee Herman dance.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Boom, ba boom, boom. That was the original. If you want to hear a fucking bomb ass hip hop beat, listen to the Pee Wee Herman by Joski Love. Like that summer, it was when I saw the Fresh Fest. That's what the DJs were playing. When I saw Houdini play live in '83, that summer, that track was like the bomb. And then, you know, there's always been summer hip hop jams, like Fresh Prince's summer. That one hit nice.
Yep. Yeah, there's always a song in New York that takes it over. I remember Eric B. for President when I was in college. That was a song that just took over the city.
Coming out of Jeeps, coming out of trucks.
Everywhere. I was at the Garden. I went to go see Eddie Murphy live.
Oh my
And
God.
I remember.
You saw the Raw tour or the Delirious tour? You saw the Raw tour.
You know what? I forget which one was it, but it came around once. It was called Pieces of My Mind. And by the time it came all the way back around the country, they changed the name to, I think, Raw.
Oh, wow.
But when it started out, I still have a Pieces of My Mind shirt because I went to go see it when it came back Raw. It was the same exact show. And we were all like, oh, I guess they just changed the name of it. Because I guess at the end they started filming it. So they came back around to Nassau Coliseum. But we started off seeing them at the Garden.
You saw Eddie. Okay, wait a second. You saw Eddie Murphy, Pieces of My Mind. That sounds like something like he just put together right before Raw, and he did it in New York City. And he was so hot that he would sell out anything. Like, I remember Eddie Murphy, like Delirious.
That was the original name of it. It was called Pieces of My Mind. And then they started touring it around the country, getting ready to film it. I guess they came up with another name.
Do you remember who opened that show? Because I have heard like names.
No.
It wasn't like Tommy Davidson, or like, I think it was.
I didn't know who Tommy Davidson was then.
I know it wasn't Tommy Davidson, but it was like They said the Wayans. I think he was like a lot of the Wayans brother, like the older Wayans brother, like
Could've
for
been.
like the Comedy Store guys that it was opening, like right.
I
But
saw
yeah,
a lot of
what do you remember about the show?
I remember, this is what I remember. At the time, I was big. I was a bodybuilder. I was probably like 270 pounds. I'm 6'4".
270 pounds.
My traps were like this. I had shoulders, 20-inch arms.
You can make the
And
titties bounce.
I used to have, I had a mullet. I had a mustache. I looked exactly pretty much like Mark Gastineau.
Wow.
And when we
Were you
came,
on the juice?
when we came to go see Eddie Murphy, my friends noticed that Sylvester Stallone had come in with Bridget Nielsen. They walked in. They had security. They were like obviously a lot of rows lower than us, but our seats weren't that bad. And I was with my boys. We were all. So then I started busting my chops because Bridget Nielsen used to go out with Sylvester Stallone. I mean, with Mark Gastineau.
Oh,
So a lot of my friends were like, "Yo, you should go down there, man. Go down there in a huff and see if you can get their attention." And I was like, "All right, fuck it, I'm gonna do it." So I got up. I had a sweater. Like I'm telling you, I was 270, but I looked like I was 290, right? And I'm walking down the stairs, and I'm doing like this with the shoulders. And all of a sudden, you see his security pop up, and they all look up. They all look up towards my way. And then when I got to the landing, right where they were, I made a left. I just kept going. I went to the bathroom, and then once I got out there, Eric B was signing autographs. I didn't know who Eric B it was at the time because Eric B and Rakim's album, it had dropped, but
it was only that one or two tracks. They weren't like
the whole album is banging. That's one of the best albums ever made. I know every song on that. Paid in Full.
Yeah.
You know, I got all those. So when I made the left, I didn't know who he was because the album was out. Back then, you didn't really know what the artists looked like until they were on MTV or unless you bought the album, because then they would have their picture on the cover.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the album yet. So I make the left and I see this guy with a huge gold chain. I mean, the size of this chain and it was like a circular gold medallion right here and that thing. And I was like, holy shit, who's this fucking guy? And meanwhile, Eric B for President is playing over the speakers and he's signing autographs. And I'm like, and I was like, this is probably the guy that's singing this song right now. So I went to the bathroom, I came back. But that's one thing I remember about the Eddie Murphy concert in Madison Square Garden. Me scaring the shit out of Sylvester Stallone and all his bodyguards.
And running into Eric B.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is the craziest story.
Yeah.
And that's a famous Jet football player, right? Mark Gastineau.
Yeah.
I'm not a football cat. You know me. I draw spaceships and shit, but my brother was a sports cat.
You mind if I write that line down?
Yeah, you can write that line down.
That's a great line. You know, I'm not a football cat. You know me. I draw spaceships. Seriously, bro, that is one of the best lines I've ever heard in my life.
I've said that before on stage. Like that's kind of like one of my like space out, like to tell the audience who I am, you know, and everybody gets that right off the bat. But yeah,
it goes with I'm not a football guy.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because that is a great line.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you.
I love that line.
Yeah.
There are lines that are so descriptive. You know, like, and that's what you have to kind of sort of get when you write your comedy. Like one of my lines is, you could probably tell by looking at me that I do very well with women. You know, and it's when you understand who you are.
Yes.
That's when you can, you know, that's when you, like they say, find your voice. You need to know who you are, what your perception is to other people, how they see you.
Yeah, man. That's why I've always like, you know, I like doing jokes, but I'm always trying to be my pure self on stage. You know, because that's when it's easy. When you're just shoveling jokes, it just seems so much work. When I'm lucid and flow state and I'm completely myself and I got the audience, like that's where I always, you know, love, man. It's just being yourself. And I think we have a job that we can do that. I mean, being a cop is cool. Being a businessman, being a billionaire, being a a president is cool, but we can be ourselves. There's very few motherfuckers that can own it. And I always like that about you, Mark. You always owned who you were on stage. Yeah, you were like, you knew it wasn't cool to tell motherfuckers you were a cop, but you said, yeah, I'm a cop. And I smoke weed. And I've been around the block more than any of you guys. And if we got into a fist fight, I could probably take you out.
Yeah, I don't know about taking people out, but I will.
You weren't a tough guy. I don't see tough guy vibe, but did you fight a lot growing up? Did you have to fight growing up? I mean, I know you're Dominican Republic. Like, you grew up in a mixed family in the early 70s, 80s New York, right?
I have an angry resting face. So, right? So people, especially when I was younger, they'd always go, "Yo, what's the matter?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Why?" And I was in a fine mood. I just looked angry. So I think a lot of people didn't fuck with me for that. And then I was also,
that's a good.
There was, I think I remember, and it's hard to explain to people unless you grew up in a neighborhood like that. I remember making sure that I got into a certain amount of fights just so I wouldn't have to fight. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, man. Yep. There has to be word on the street that you shouldn't be fucked with, or people will fuck with you. There has to be at least a certain decent amount of level, whether you were playing football or soccer or kick the can, that you weren't going to take it from the bully or whoever was being aggressive a little bit, you know? I don't know. I think that was a lot about being a kid in the 80s, but I don't think it is now. I think it's all going to a different place, but that's, you know, what we had to do.
Yeah, because there was a lot of hanging out in the street back then. And
yeah,
the more you socialize, like not online, in person,
and unsupervised, completely for hours on end. Like they didn't want to see us.
Oh yeah, they throw you out, and you know you kind of had to make it was its own little government. You know who was in charge, who was in control, what were we gonna do? Was there gonna be a power struggle? And this is right just amongst friends.
Yeah, just amongst friends.
Just like I'm going to I'm going to go up to Steinway, you know, which was a big street. Who wants to take a walk with me, or who's come with me? Or if your friend just said, if I just said to you, "Hey Rob, you wanted to come with me to Steinway tomorrow?" And then me and you were going to Steinway, and then our other friend, you know, Eddie was like, "Where are you guys going?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're going to Steinway." "Oh, how come you didn't tell me?"
Yeah, but you can't turn him down. He has to come, and you guys have to get comic books and get some ice cream or some bullshit.
But there was always that one friend that was always trying to separate everybody.
Yeah, there was always, there was always like the politician.
We'd all hang out together at night, but during the day he'd pick you, and he felt special that he was taking you on his journey to go get like a bakery for his mother.
Oh man. Yeah, the kids in my neighborhood, I mean, I always liked funny dudes, so that was it. And
Me too.
I always liked the funny cats, and but what we were talking about is the funniest dudes I know, Mark, when I was growing up, most of them are dead now. Like I think a lot of them is, you know, manic depressive. Like I just remember dudes that were funny out the box, like just like kablam. I just remember a couple, and they didn't make it past their 40s. I think drugs or alcohol, you know, just like something took them down. And I lost track of them, but we were very young. Like the guys that I was like, that dude was funnier than the other crew. Like we had another group of friends from DC, but then we went to Virginia. We met a couple people, and there was one person that was just super funny, like a level of funny I had never seen. Like it was smart, it was creative, it was out the box, and it would make you just piss your pants funny, you know, just like, I don't know. He would like sing stupid songs and do bike tricks. I don't know. It was just some manic energy that was just out of the box funny.
Yeah, I was always attracted to the funny person in class, and a lot of times I would like kind of sort of team up with them.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much the funniest one in the class, but I was the most disruptive. Like, I always sought to my goal every day was to disrupt the class. And, you know, somebody could be very funny, but they'd be funny on breaks, and, you know, or we're all together. But in the middle of class, my goal was to fuck shit up. Like I was trying different ways. If it was from, you know, you name it.
You do some pratfalls? Are we flicking boogers? Are we singing?
I'll give you one story. We were in class, and we used to have these desks where you used to go push push the thing up, and you put your books in there. And I figured out, I had a co-pilot on this one, my friend Oscar Benitez. We figured out if we pick up the desk at a certain time of the day when the sun was coming in, the sun will come in and hit this wooden desk thing, and then it would beam off that and go towards the blackboard, and off the blackboard it would beam the teacher in the eye. Don't ask me how he figured this out, but we did. So it was the perfect time of the day. Sister Barbara's up at the thing. She's doing a math thing. So we pick up the desk like this. Sure enough, sun comes in, hits the desk, beams off the desk, beams off the blackboard right in her eyes. She does one of these things. She puts down the chalk. She turns around. Okay, everybody. And she starts going through the aisles. I just want to make sure that everybody has their math books out. And we all, everybody has a notebook. Okay, everybody has their pencils, going through all the rows of kids, making sure everybody. Okay, so there's no reason why anybody needs to go into their desk now, right? No, Sister Barbara, we're like in the 4th, 5th grade, right?
Mm-hmm.
She goes back up. She starts writing on the board, and me and Oscar look at each other. We pick our desk up like this. Sun comes in, beams off the desk, beams off the blackboard right in the eye. She goes, "You fuckers!" And we made a nun curse. Chalk down, and she runs out of the class crying.
Oh.
And we felt so bad because Sister Barbara was she was a really nice nun, and she was young. She must have been in her 20s, and we broke her.
Oh.
We broke her, and we were relentless. We were every day. If you had to deal
with
New
York City kids, you were asshole fucking goofballs.
Yeah, we were sent upstate. I was such a troublemaker that I was actually sent to boarding school, and this was in boarding school that this happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They used to hit us up there. We used to get hit.
Yep. The nuns probably hit you. Yeah. I went to boarding school 10th, 11th, 12th grade.
Wow. Where?
In Virginia. It's just a little, it was like a little prep school in Virginia, but in Lynchburg, Virginia. I went to public school. What's that?
When did you come home? Like every week or every couple of weeks?
Yeah, maybe a month or two, maybe a month. Yeah, I've been on my own since I was like 15, pretty much. And then right after that, I went to college. And then right after that, I got a job. And I always had jobs in since I was 19 or 20. I wanted to go out and drink with my friends. So I always worked at restaurants and bullshit, But yeah, I got paddled. I told a story here in my head of my buddy that I went to in public school. I had like the football coach had a wooden paddle for me getting in a fight with a kid. Like literally a grown man told me to grab my nuts and just went whap, whap, like a football coach just gave me 3 licks.
Yeah, it's good for you though. I really do think so.
I mean, I got the belt from my dad when I was young, but I have kids and I don't. Yeah,
but the thing is, let me tell you something.
It's a different time and age.
But getting paddled is nothing. All that is the only thing that counts is getting hit in your face. You can recall, and every single person can recall. And I actually talked to somebody the other day, and they said they never got hit in the face, and I couldn't believe it. I can recall, and I'm pretty sure every single person, if we sat down, you could recall every single time you got hit in the face. And I'm writing a book about that right now. And
that is true.
Every single time. It's going to be a solo show, but it's a story of every single time you got hit in the face. What?
It fucking sucks to get punched in the nose.
It's not just hit in the nose. It could be hit on the side.
The cheekbone is a weird one. The eye socket is a weird one.
It's the violence towards your face.
And your brain is right there. Your eyes, your teeth.
It just rattles you. It's something about you. Just don't forget it. You get hit in the body. Somebody punches you in the stomach. You could remember that too. But there's the face shots. I remember my mother slapped me one time. I remember every fist fight I ever got into. But the fist fights didn't really count. I'm not counting those on the nun hitting me in the face. I'm talking about
ruler to the face. What had the nun hit you?
She slapped you right in the face.
Just slapped, and you had to take it. That was
like this. She was tiny. She was probably 5 feet tall, but she had a really athletic body, like she could have been a sprinter, bow legs and everything. Really, just walking around like this little jack gymnast. And she used to go like this to you and whack, whack. And it was always on the third. I got hit so much, I knew the timing of it because then I used to move. 1, 2, whack. And one time I hit her in the shoulder. She hit me in the shoulder and it hurt her hand. and then she started hitting me with the bullhorn. She was going like this with her hand and hitting me because in the left hand she had the bullhorn, but they weren't really good strikes.
Oh man, you took some trauma, my man. You took some real trauma.
Yeah. It was a lot. Believe me.
Where are you with Jesus nowadays, Mark? Are you? That could have driven you to smoke some crack or join a death metal band. Like that's some getting hit by a nun with a bullhorn at age 12.
I like disturbing. I like disturbing, or I guess it's just being an asshole. Because it makes me laugh. I think it's funny, especially the classroom atmosphere. You know, just to cut everybody up and make people laugh. I even did it in the academy. You know what it is? I can't sit still for long. I used to draw, and I can draw pretty well.
Yeah, man.
Pretty
Did you ever do graffiti? Did you ever get?
Yeah.
You could do some fresh bubble letters. You got bubble letters? Can you give me the spark up at the top? Can you give me the little twirls up in the little top joints?
I'm always writing. Always.
Let me see something. Let me see some doodle. Give me some Mark DeMayo, New York City.
Well, I'm looking through. These are my writing pads, but usually in the middle of writing, I'll always, if I get bored.
I love doodling. I love drawing.
Yeah, this one doesn't have anything. Usually if I get bored or if I'm talking to somebody on a Zoom or something, I'll start doodling.
What do? Do you do graffiti letters or do you do boxes or geometric shapes?
I do pieces, bro.
Oh, you do full-on pieces.
Yeah, I've been writing for years, but I'm not that good. I'm okay.
You kind of got Ramon from Beat Street vibe for me, dude. Did you used to run with Ramon, dude? Were you there when Spit threw the fucking paint at him, man?
Who was his girlfriend in that movie?
Oh, Ray Don Chong, right? Ray Don Chong, Tommy Chong's daughter. Tommy Chong, like, that's what I say about cannabis and old dudes. Like, I know all you New York cops, ex-cops are all probably firing up. All the blue collar cats are firing up. Because being old dudes, like, weed will bring down I'm drinking cannabis tea right now, but it's just CBD, not psychoactive, but it brings down your heart rate. It'll make you live longer. You could still get hit by a truck or, get some random violence go down. But on the whole, like, Tom's living forever. Willie Nelson's living forever. These dudes are huffing like Indians.
Yeah. I think what it is the mental sanity, like you said, lowering your stress level,
your heart rate, yep, and really keep your mind active.
You have to actively pursue the idea that you're not going to get stressed out about things that don't directly involve you.
Yeah, man.
We're manufacturing all this stuff, to either fit in or appease or pretend like I'm upset. Listen, I don't give a fuck. It didn't happen to my kids, none of my friends.
In my bubble, and I might get hit by a truck any second. I'm
not saying that I don't give a fuck. I care.
You got to care.
I'm not going to start manufacturing a lot of it's not going to make me angry enough where I have to go out and spend some time taking away from my life. You know what I'm saying?
Man. I do know what you're saying. The other thing I read the other day, and I did it. I just been really, you got to be nice to yourself. That's the thing. You got to love yourself. And you got to be nice to yourself. And one thing I read was just like, lay down, rest, and don't worry.
Yeah.
And yesterday I was feeling the energy level because we're kind of, I'm in my 40s, I'm 47. I got to read my energy. I love myself. And I was like, I'm feeling funky. And then I was like, I'm just going to lay down and I'm not going to worry or touch my phone. I'm not going to do anything. And I did it. And I fell asleep, dude, for like 90 minutes. Like my wife came in, was like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you. And I did that thing where you wake up and you're like, and you feel refreshed. You ever have a good nap and it's like, oh shit, I'm 23 again, man. I'm gonna go out and dunk on these dudes.
You just reminded me of there used to be this saying, like, when you grow up in the city and you're like in the projects and stuff, there's always that one saying when they go, look at him, he's taking a nap like he got a job. or look at or the way you're in the fridge. Look at him going through the fridge like he got a job.
Oh, yeah. When that stress button, yeah, I know what it's like to be broke as hell, and I know what it's like to be at the top. I know what it's like to be at the bottom, and I like the middle. Like I like being able to know where the bread's coming from. Zoom life, like our industry's kind of funky right now, but I think with cannabis being legal, like it's just time to pivot and hustle and, you know, make some moves. I know you got a gig right after this. I'm trying to wrap it up on something dope. I know you got like a paid Zoom after this. I appreciate you doing this, Mark, man. I'll hit you up with a joint the next time we hang out, man. I know I don't know how much you want to be public with it. I can cut this out, but I remember us at Times Square doing that shitty comedy club in the middle. But you were like, yo, Rob, let's go listen to Yeezus. And you had Yeezus on CD and you had a fly ride and a good system. We went down there and blazed up in your car and we listened to Yeezus.
Kanye, yeah.
We listened to Kanye, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like I think he's got 3 joints right now, but you loved that album. Your mind was blown. I couldn't absorb it because it was so out of the pocket for me. But I loved Through the Wire, Runaway, and then I just got turned on to Gone.
That thing? Where he's got 150 freaking choir. Jesus. And oh man. The things that he thinks of is just I'm always fascinated by people that are, you know, visionaries that that have that can put it together.
Different thinkers. Yeah. What he's doing with shoes, like I'm not even jocking them and I don't even, I'm not on that, but it does blow me away. Like you can blow him off for being a narcissist, but man, what he's done for shoes, like.
Yeah, I don't see it at all. Like I wouldn't even if
my girl's in fashion and she's just like, dude, and she's like, she's like Goop Life. Like she's just like a regular, she's like, and she just knows shoes. And it's like, he changed the game, like literally like changed the industry, like how they make tennis shoes, like completely got changed.
I'm so happy that I look at them and I'm like, even if you gave me a pair of them, I wouldn't know what to wear them.
What are you rocking now? Mine is Solomon. I'm rocking Solomon. They have good soles. They have the arch. I got high arches. You got to have some good, like old man shoes.
Probably look good in heels.
I got a good figure. I'm in touch with my feminine.
Paint your toenails, clip those toe hairs, and get out there, man. Put those heels on, make some money for the family.
Yeah, you gotta make some money. Some of the time the gigs, I'll go down by the Holland Tunnel, make a quick 40, man. Me and the ladies down there.
Who knows, man? Maybe that's what's gonna come back in New York City. Street prostitutes, man.
That I saw you. That's funny you brought that up because I did see something, the YouTube weirdness, but I ended up on like a 60 Minutes interview of RuPaul, but it was like, I like looking at an old New York. It was like Meatpacking District 88 and it's real RuPaul. And she's talking to the transvestites down there. It was fucking, and she was not, she was nice to him and could kick it with them. So it was super interesting, man. It was like, and sad, but a lot of them had senses of humor and they were cracking jokes. It was like old New York. So they all seen it all. It was wild.
Yeah. Yep. I was gonna mention something about the but now I forgot.
What's your okay, we'll sign off on, do you drink coffee, Mark?
Yeah, I like Cafe Bustelo.
The other cats, yeah, Chris Laker. That's his go-to. Do you do that in your coffee maker or do you go espresso? How hardcore are you?
I do the pods. I do the espresso pods.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's there. It's Cafe Bustelo and it says espresso, but there's another one, coffee one. I like this one a little bit. It's a little bit stronger, but it's about the size of a cup of coffee. And I use non-dairy creamer, so I'm not drinking that.
Are you doing powder creamer or are you like the powder? I'm going oat milk. I do almond. I do like me a good powder creamer now and then.
Can't do almond, man. It changes the taste of the coffee for me.
Yeah.
The coffee.
I like nuts. I'm all about fish and nuts, dude. There's a fresh fish place down the street. I got a fucking.
Where do you live?
I live over in Park Slope.
Okay, so you're in New York still.
Yeah, I've been here since 2005. I got a kid in public school. I'm not leaving. I haven't left during this whole thing, man. I've been on lockdown, surviving on edibles and doing this podcast and drinking green tea.
You have kids?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it on this podcast too much. I'm trying to steer away. But as a man to man, it's like, yo, what's up?
No, I hear you. But I also wanted to ask you, what was the tour like? Because we only got a couple of minutes. How much time you got when you go up there? How much time are you doing?
with Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the best tour of my life, man. I'm doing 10 minutes. Hot 10 minutes. Right after Artie Fuqua. And then it's Mark Theobald, Pat Brown, Roberto Vanderpool. We're all doing 10, and then Tracy does 50.
That's awesome.
And he throws Pat Brown like 15. Like we all take care of Pat, and she's really working on herself. A lot of it's just like he doesn't have bodyguards. He has 2 security dudes that are like dudes from his neighborhood that now run security like they've been cops and shit. But most of it was like us, like just holding them down, and keeping its vibe right. Mark's positive. I got through Mark, just like going on. He said, yo, Rob, I'm over on set. I've always asked him about writing and shit. He's like, come by. And then I came by and Tracy saw me. He was like, yo, Rob, what's up, man? And I knew him back in the day before that. That was one time I actually prayed for Tracy when he got in that accident. And then I hadn't seen him like in 7 years. And then I walked on set and I didn't, Tracy, he's a fucking superstar. So, and he's from he's a crack dealer from the projects, man. He's out there. He's out the, so I didn't know what he was going to say. And then he was just all love. And then he was like, yo, come out. And I had 2 spots. I had like a spot at like Dangerfields for fucking less money and some other trash spot. And he was like, yo, Rob, come out to Levity with me. And I was like, I got spots. He was like, cancel those fucking things. I'll pay you $200 to hang out. So I came out and I just hung out. And the idea was just to write jokes for him because he has like a writer. The idea was to write for him, but he's so funny. It's weird to write for him. Mark can do it. But then I was out there like in California and I didn't know I was going to go on. And he was like, yo, give Rob 10 minutes. And it was like this big amphitheater. And we already took the personal jet. This is the first time I was on a private jet. We went all the way out there. I didn't even know I was going to go on stage, Mark. And then he was like, yo, go on up. And I just went up and, I've been doing this 20 years. And I've been doing it all in the Village and doing it all in the alternative rooms. I was doing Rafifi and doing Louis J. Gomez gigs at the same time, man. So I know when it comes to stand up for 10 minutes, I can give you a good 10 minutes. Yeah. I know you can give a good 10 minutes. So, it was a dream crowd, man.
Well, we have the same kind of sort of history in comedy. We both played the urban rooms and we bounce back and forth. We double dutch almost like, which is,
that's how you got to be all city, graffiti. You got to be able to do, as a comedian, the dudes I respected played all the rooms, could kill in front of a gay crowd, could kill in front of an old crowd, could do clean. Like that's when you're the top level. Like if you want to play with Jordan, you're not one of the real, everything's different now with the internet and all that. But if you want to just talk core stand up where it's literally as old as chess and it's like, dude, there's just levels to this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the highest or the funniest, but I've been out there with them.
Tracy gave me my first and best lesson in comedy. I remember I was at the New York Comedy Club. I was coming off stage. I probably was doing the check spot on Seymour's show. Seymour Swan used to have the urban show that started at 11:30 on Friday and Saturday nights.
Always packed. Yeah, I did that joint once or twice.
So I'm coming off, and he looks at me, and he must have heard the crowd laughing. And he goes, yo, just so you know, I always want to do better than you, son. This shit is an individual sport. And I looked at him, I was like, oh, all right. And, like a lot of times, Tracy tells you stuff, you don't, that one I was able to decipher pretty quick. I got what he was telling me. He was like, it's an individual sport. As much as we're all doing this together and we're all a family, when you get up there, where you should be competitive. You want to knock it out the park. Not only does it make me better, but it'll make you better. It'll make the shows better. And that's the way it is.
Yeah. It's those old lessons. It's like the stand-up, like I was saying earlier, and he does it. And I've been reading a lot of Bruce Wayne. It's just emotional content. Like you have to when you're killing is just when the crowd, it's beyond just joke writing. It's like emotion. So when you tap into that emotion, like when you really let people gut laugh, and that's what Tracy and you got in New York, and like when you can get people to gut laugh, yeah, that's our gig. Like that's, yeah, you're just raising the bar for everybody else. 100%. And you don't have to be a dick about it. You shouldn't compare yourself. But in the moment, yeah, that's like we're all doing layups. Like, yeah, you should, and that, he would always do. He would want me to kill on his show. I would go out and I wouldn't smoke weed. He paid me good. I was learning showbiz lessons, and I would just go in and I would just try to kill as hard. I would just try to kill as hard as I can. And I have I got stuff about my kid, my wife, and stuff. Like, I got mainstream stuff for 10 minutes. I can give you a really good like mainstream show.
I definitely believe it, man. I got to split now because I got to get ready for this other thing.
Yeah, you do.
I just wanted to let everybody know that listens to you. I'm going to be performing. I'm going to be recording an album.
Please, yeah.
Sunday, April 25th.
April 25th, Sunday in Manhattan.
New York Comedy Club, 4th Street. That's the East Village spot, New York Comedy Club, NewYorkComedyClub.com. And if you go and you put in the coupon code MARK, M-A-R-K, you'll get a discount, $10 tickets. If not, it's $25 at the door. April 25th, 2 shows. Sunday, April 25th, 7 o'clock and 9:30 p.m. So please, man, if you had a good time today and you're a fan, come out. It's going to be a great time. It's for a great,
hilarious, and awesome and fascinating ex-cop, funny, goofy, weed smoking, family guy, been through everything. And as stand-up, if you want to see real New York stand-up, and he's gonna record it. And this is like one of the old clubs that was in the circuit. This is like the first time I saw like DC Benny, Ben Bailey, like people killing it. Like, it was just one of those workout spots, like Seinfeld. Everybody did it. And I think you're going to have an amazing time. It's going to sound awesome. So everybody check out and come out to his recording, and check it out when it's streaming out into the universe. All right, Mark DeMayo, you're the man. I love it. Thank you for doing this, dude.
Can't wait to see you again. We'll be performing again soon. Everything's opening up.
Yeah, it's all coming together. I got the second shot. I'm waiting a couple weeks.
Me too. I got the second shot coming up. I just got the first one.
You running? What you got? I got Pfizer.
Me too.
Oh, pound out. Boom. All right. Peace out, Mark. I love you. All right.
Love you too,
New York City.